Notre Dame's offseason had already felt unsettled, but the latest departure inside Marcus Freeman's program struck a deeper emotional chord, one that echoed through the Goog in a way players and staff couldn't ignore. The Irish didn't just lose another assistant, they lost Max Bullough, the former Michigan State standout who had grown into one of the most respected voices in Notre Dame's building. His rise from graduate assistant to linebackers coach felt like one of those rare college football stories where talent, timing, loyalty, and opportunity aligned perfectly. The kind that makes a fan base believe a long-term foundation is quietly being laid behind the scenes. And yet, as has become a frustrating pattern for Notre Dame under Freeman, the revolving door at the linebacker coaching position spun again, this time pulling Bullough back to his alma mater, where a familiar green hue and the gravitational pull of home proved impossible to resist. Reports from Spartan Mag confirmed what many around South Bend had feared was coming. Bullough accepted a role as Michigan State's co-defensive coordinator and linebackers coach, joining the newly assembled staff under Pat Fitzgerald, who was hired to restore toughness and credibility to a program desperate for both. To those inside Notre Dame's football building, Bullough's exit wasn't just a logistical challenge, it was a gut punch. Here was a coach who had built immediate trust with his players, a coach whose energy flooded into every drill, every film session, every quiet one-on-one moment that often defines a young athlete's confidence. He coached Jack Kaiser into one of the most reliable presences on the defense, helped Drake Bowen take steps that validated all the hype surrounding him, nurtured the raw promise of Jaden Osbury, and molded Kingston Viliamu Asa with a level of intentionality and detail that players felt rather than simply heard. Anyone who spent time at practice could see it. Linebackers moved differently under Bullough. They attacked differently. They communicated differently. They carried themselves with a sharper edge, a fuller understanding of what it meant to play with discipline and controlled violence, the very traits that defined Bullough's own career at Michigan State. Losing him meant losing a coach whose fingerprints were already on the future of the Irish defense. And the irony, the part that stings most for Notre Dame fans, is that continuity was supposed to be the one stabilizing force Freeman could guarantee when he first ascended to the head coaching role. Yet, since the day he took over, linebacker coaches have been a revolving cast. In 2022, Al Golden split time between being defensive coordinator and overseeing the linebackers, an arrangement that produced solid results but also stretched Golden thin. His exit to the NFL following a Broyles Award-winning campaign felt inevitable. It's difficult to hold on to a coach whose phone never stops buzzing with offers from professional teams. But Bullough's departure feels different, less like an upward career leap and more like the irresistible tug of nostalgia, history, and unfinished business at the place where he once roamed the field as an all-Big Ten force. It leaves the Irish without the coach who had quietly become one of their most effective teachers. Inside Notre Dame's program, the ripple effects of this loss are real. Bullough had established himself as a bridge between veterans and the next wave of young linebackers, the voice that could both challenge and inspire, correct and reassure. When players talk about coaching, they rarely speak in terms of resumes or schemes. They talk about tone, presence, moments when a coach's words hit them at exactly the right time. Bullough had that gift, the rare ability to make players run through a wall because they believed he'd be the first one charging through it with them. His return to Michigan State is a victory for the Spartans, who are attempting to reclaim a defensive identity rooted in toughness, discipline, and leadership. Those qualities radiate from Bullough, and Fitzgerald, whose own reputation was built on those same principles, likely saw in him the perfect lieutenant. For Notre Dame, the timing adds its own layer of tension. The program is already dealing with questions about its trajectory, about its standing within the ACC relationship, about the sting of being left out of the college football playoff, and about the constant swirl of rumors connecting Marcus Freeman to NFL openings. When a head coach's long-term stability becomes a national talking point, every staff change gets amplified. Every departure becomes a data point in a narrative the Irish don't want to fuel. Freeman has made strong hires before and is expected to do so again, but replacing someone as naturally aligned with the program's culture as Bullough won't be simple. In a sport obsessed with scheme and stars, the linebackers room is often the heartbeat of a defense, the place where leadership incubates and identity takes root. Bullough played a monumental role in that. Notre Dame fans know that staff turnover is part of modern college football, but the frequency of it at this particular position is hard to ignore. It raises questions about why linebacker coaches struggle to stay for the long haul and whether the role has become a stepping stone or an unstable part of the coaching hierarchy under Freeman. And yet, for all the concerns, Freeman's track record suggests he understands how to identify coaches who match Notre Dame's personality, coaches who bring intensity, intellect, and genuine care for their players. The challenge now is finding another such figure in a moment when the program can't afford to lose momentum. The offseason doesn't slow down for a moment, and even as supporters process Bullough's exit, more storylines loom overhead. Reports of potential opt-outs for the upcoming postseason have surfaced, adding another layer of uncertainty to a roster that already feels like it's standing on shifting ground. A Big Ten rival fired its head coach, sparking conversations about how Notre Dame might adjust to the new landscape around it. The Big 12 commissioner publicly criticized the Irish's handling of their postseason situation and their ACC alignment, amplifying the noise surrounding the program. A player announced he's entering the transfer portal after a sudden end to the season, and the ACC commissioner is scrambling to mend the relationship with Notre Dame, knowing full well the Irish carry a gravitational pull unlike any other independent entity in college sports. In the middle of all this turbulence sits Marcus Freeman, a coach praised for his charisma and leadership, yet constantly examined for durability, decision-making, and program stability. Bullough's departure doesn't fall on Freeman, but the task of replacing him does. And at Notre Dame, where expectations live permanently at championship altitude, every decision, every hire, every moment shapes the next chapter. For now, Michigan State celebrates the return of a hometown hero. Notre Dame faces another hire in a position that has seen too many transitions, and players adjust to yet another shift in the coaching landscape. But college football moves the way fall leaves move in the wind, fast, unpredictable, and always with more stories waiting beyond the next turn. Bullough's exit is one story ending and another beginning, and in the ever-shifting world of Notre Dame football, the program presses forward, determined to stabilize the present while still chasing the glory that has defined its past.